pulled the car into the desolate highway rest stop, the tires crunching on gravel as we rolled to a stop. The night hung heavy around us, a vast expanse of darkness broken only by the dim glow of the rest stop's overhead lights. My friends and I, eager for a break during our long drive, stepped out into the cool night air. The low hum of the engine and the rhythmic whir of tires had become a constant companion on our journey, and the rest stop promised a brief respite from the monotony of the road. As we wandered into the area, the overhead lights flickered, casting eerie shadows that danced along the asphalt. "Creepy place," Jake remarked, glancing around. The sentiment echoed in the hesitant nods of the group. The rest stop, seemingly empty, was surrounded by dense woods that swallowed any distant sounds of the highway. Despite the unease that settled over us, we pressed on, drawn to the dimly lit vending machines standing like silent sentinels against the night. The light from the machines cast elongated shadows, distorting the surrounding darkness into bizarre shapes that seemed to writhe and sway. A soft breeze rustled through the trees, and whispers, indistinct but present, mingled with the night air. I exchanged a puzzled glance with Sarah, my girlfriend, and she shivered, pulling her jacket tighter around her. "It's probably just the wind," I reassured her, though the unease had begun to settle in my own stomach. As we approached the vending machines, the flickering lights overhead intensified, casting erratic shadows that seemed to move independently of any external force. The soft hum of the machines joined the symphony of the night, creating an unsettling melody that played on our frayed nerves. "I just want a damn snack," Mark grumbled, his attempt at levity falling flat in the oppressive atmosphere. We selected our snacks, the clinking of coins against the vending machine's metal interior punctuating the uneasy quiet. As we turned to leave, a figure appeared at the edge of the rest stop, bathed in the ethereal glow of the flickering lights. The silhouette was indistinct, its features obscured by the play of shadows. A chill ran down my spine as the figure seemed to shift and warp, as if struggling to maintain a tangible form. "Hey!" Jake called out, his voice cutting through the quiet. "You lost or something?" The figure remained silent, its gaze fixed on us. I felt a palpable tension in the air, an unspoken connection that transcended the distance between us and the mysterious stranger. "We should go," Sarah whispered, her eyes locked with the enigmatic figure. The group nodded in agreement, and we retraced our steps to the car. As we approached, the overhead lights flickered more violently, casting the rest stop into a chaotic dance of light and shadow. The whispers in the air grew louder, a chorus of unintelligible voices that seemed to surround us. We piled into the car, the engine roaring to life as I turned the key. The headlights pierced the darkness, revealing the figure at the edge of the rest stop. Its form now undulated, contorting in ways that defied the laws of nature. I slammed my foot on the gas pedal, and we peeled out of the rest stop, the image of the mysterious figure fading in the rearview mirror. The night seemed to close in around us as we merged back onto the highway, leaving the unsettling atmosphere of the rest stop behind. The whispers lingered, a haunting echo that followed us down the deserted highway. Sarah clutched my hand, her gaze fixed on the road ahead, as if willing us to escape the strange phenomena that had unfolded in the isolated rest stop. We drove in silence, the hum of the engine and the rhythmic whir of tires once again becoming our constant companions. The rest stop, now a distant memory, left an indelible mark on our journey, a reminder that even in the seemingly mundane places along the highway, the unknown could lurk in the shadows, waiting to reveal itself in unsettling ways. As the night wore on, the echoes of the rest stop whispers gradually faded, replaced by the steady cadence of our journey. The highway stretched out before us, a ribbon of uncertainty leading us into the unknown. And though we left the rest stop behind, the memory of that eerie night lingered, a spectral presence that would forever haunt the recesses of our collective imagination. Let's hop on to story number 2, but before I begin reading, make sure that you have subscribed to Mr. Scare for regular horror podcasts. The hum of the engine reverberated through the cabin as I merged onto the desolate highway, joining a convoy of fellow truckers navigating the lonely stretch of road. The darkness outside was absolute, broken only by the dim glow of our headlights cutting through the night. We were a collection of solitary travelers, bound together by the shared solitude of the open road. As I settled into the rhythm of the convoy, the chatter over the CB radio became a constant companion. Stories flowed through the airwaves, tales of the road and the myriad experiences that came with it. It was a camaraderie built on the understanding that, despite the vast expanse of the highway, we weren't entirely alone. As the night wore on, the stories took a darker turn. Truckers began sharing accounts of a phantom truck that would materialize within the convoy, its headlights piercing through the darkness before vanishing without a trace. Skepticism mingled with unease over the airwaves, and a collective shiver seemed to run through the convoy. Curiosity got the better of me, and I keyed the microphone on my CB radio. "Hey, anyone else hearing about this phantom truck?" I asked, my voice cutting through the static. A chorus of responses followed, each driver recounting their own unnerving encounters. The phantom truck, it seemed, was no isolated occurrence. It had become an unspoken specter haunting the convoy, leaving a trail of speculation and unease in its wake. As the convoy continued through the night, the stories of the phantom truck became more detailed. Some claimed to have seen it in their side mirrors, a looming presence that vanished when they turned to confront it. Others spoke of inexplicable changes in the radio frequency, as if the phantom truck was interfering with our communications. I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, a sensation that intensified with each passing mile. Glancing into my side mirrors, I half expected to see the phantom truck trailing behind, its headlights casting an otherworldly glow on the highway. But the road remained empty, the darkness uninterrupted by any spectral presence. The convoy pressed on, a collective of truckers bound by both the solidarity of the road and the shared disquiet brought on by the phantom truck stories. The airwaves crackled with tension, and the unease hung heavy over the convoy like an invisible fog. As the night reached its darkest point, I caught sight of a pair of headlights in my rearview mirror. My heart skipped a beat as I watched them draw nearer, a shape materializing in the darkness. The phantom truck, it seemed, had chosen me as its next companion. I relayed the information over the CB radio, my voice trembling with a mixture of fear and disbelief. The responses from the convoy were a mix of concern and caution, urging me to maintain a safe distance and observe the phantom truck's behavior. As the spectral headlights drew alongside my truck, a chill ran down my spine. The phantom truck seemed ordinary, an unremarkable silhouette against the night. Yet, there was an otherworldly quality to its presence, an intangible essence that set it apart from the surrounding vehicles. I maintained a steady pace, the phantom truck matching my speed. Its headlights cast an eerie glow on the highway, and the unease in the air thickened. The convoy fell silent, the collective breath held as we bore witness to the inexplicable. And then, as suddenly as it had appeared, the phantom truck vanished. Its headlights blinked out, leaving only the black void of the highway. I scanned the road ahead, my eyes searching for any sign of the spectral vehicle, but it was as if it had never been there. The airwaves erupted with a mix of relief and disbelief. The convoy, once a collective of independent travelers, had become a community united by the shared experience of the phantom truck. We exchanged theories and speculations, trying to make sense of the inexplicable. As the convoy pressed on through the night, the phantom truck became a topic of hushed conversation. Some believed it to be a manifestation of collective fatigue, a shared hallucination born from the monotony of the road. Others speculated about supernatural forces at play, a spectral entity drawn to the convoy for reasons beyond our understanding. The convoy disbanded as the first light of dawn painted the horizon. We went our separate ways, each trucker carrying the memory of the phantom truck into the new day. The open road, once a familiar friend, now held a hint of the unknown, a reminder that even in the vast expanse of the American highway, mysteries could emerge to defy explanation. As I continued my journey alone, the events of the night lingered in my mind. The phantom truck had become a part of the collective lore of the road, a spectral enigma that defied rationality. And as the highway stretched out before me, disappearing into the distance, I couldn't shake the feeling that, somewhere out there, the phantom truck continued its elusive journey through the night. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the desolate highway as my girlfriend, Emily, and I continued our road trip through the heartland of the United States. We were in search of the offbeat, the unusual, something that would turn our journey into an adventure worth remembering. As the miles rolled by, we spotted a weathered sign on the side of the road, almost hidden among the overgrown bushes. It read, "Whitaker's Oddities, where the unusual becomes reality." Intrigued, we exchanged glances and decided to take the next exit, curiosity guiding us toward the promise of a peculiar roadside attraction. The narrow road led us deeper into the countryside, surrounded by fields and woods that seemed to swallow the fading sunlight. Finally, we arrived at Whitaker's Oddities, a place that, at first glance, appeared abandoned. The paint on the sign was peeling, and the exhibits visible from the entrance looked like forgotten relics of a bygone era. Undeterred, we parked our car and ventured inside, the creaking of the rusty gate accompanying our footsteps. The air was thick with the scent of dust and decay as we entered a dimly lit hall lined with faded banners and signs. The exhibits were a bizarre assortment of mannequins and oddities, each one frozen in a macabre display. "Welcome to the Hall of the Unexplained," a crackling voice echoed from hidden speakers, causing us to startle. A flickering light illuminated the path ahead, leading us further into the unsettling attraction. The mannequins were meticulously arranged to depict scenes that straddled the line between curiosity and horror. There was a doctor operating on a mannequin with an exposed mechanical heart, and a group of mannequins gathered around a flickering television, their eyes vacant and lifeless. As we moved deeper into the exhibit, Emily clutched my arm, her eyes scanning the displays with a mix of fascination and unease. It was as if each mannequin had a story to tell, a narrative that hinted at something beyond the surface. A sign at the entrance of the next room caught our attention, the paradox of time. Intrigued, we stepped into a space filled with ticking clocks and swirling hourglasses. The walls were adorned with photographs of people frozen in time, their expressions caught between moments of joy and despair. The air grew colder as we progressed, the rhythmic ticking of the clocks echoing in our ears. It was then that we noticed a peculiar exhibit, a mannequin dressed in outdated clothing, its hand reaching out towards a vintage clock frozen at midnight. A plaque beneath it read, "The Time Traveler." As we examined the exhibit, the atmosphere shifted. The ticking of the clocks grew louder, and a chilling breeze swept through the room. We exchanged nervous glances, uncertain whether the change was a product of our imagination or something more sinister. A sudden movement caught our attention. The mannequin of the time traveler shifted, its outstretched hand no longer pointing toward the clock. Instead, it gestured toward a concealed door at the back of the room. Heart pounding, I looked at Emily, who mirrored my confusion. Without a word, we approached the door, the ticking of the clocks urging us forward. With a hesitant push, the door swung open, revealing a hidden passage leading deeper into Whitaker's Oddities. The corridor was narrow, the air heavy with an unknown energy. As we navigated the dimly lit passage, the sound of distant whispers echoed around us, indecipherable words that seemed to come from the very walls of the attraction. The passage opened into a cavernous space, a vast chamber filled with towering mannequins arranged in a haunting tableau. At the center was a mannequin unlike the others, a figure in a tattered suit, its face obscured by shadows. A voice, ancient and weary, resonated through the chamber. "Welcome to the Nexus, where the threads of reality entwine. You've stepped beyond the facade, into the heart of Whitaker's Oddities." The mannequins surrounding us began to move, their joints creaking as if awakening from a long slumber. The tattered figure at the center extended its hand, beckoning us closer. Hesitant, we approached, drawn by an invisible force that seemed to pull us into the heart of the mysterious attraction. As we reached the center, the mannequin's shadowy features became clearer. It wore the worn expression of a curator, its eyes reflecting a depth of knowledge that transcended the confines of its lifeless form. "You seek the unusual, the extraordinary," the voice continued, resonating from the very air around us. "But what if I told you that Whitaker's Oddities is more than a mere roadside attraction? It is a nexus, a convergence of realities where the lines between the known and the unknown blur." A surge of disorientation swept over us as the chamber transformed. The mannequins morphed into distorted versions of themselves, their limbs elongating and faces contorting into grotesque expressions. The chamber itself seemed to warp, reality folding and bending in ways that defied comprehension. The curator's voice echoed through the dissonance, revealing the true nature of Whitaker's Oddities. It was a place where the extraordinary bled into the ordinary, where the mannequins were conduits for something beyond human understanding. With a sudden jolt, we found ourselves back at the entrance, the exhibits returning to their static displays. The curator mannequin, now frozen in its original form, seemed to nod in acknowledgement. The whispers ceased, and the air became still once more. As we exited Whitaker's Oddities, the sun had long set, casting an eerie glow on the deserted highway. Emily and I exchanged glances, the experience lingering in our minds like a half-remembered dream. Whitaker's Oddities, it seemed, was a place where reality itself danced on the edge of the unknown, a nexus where the unusual became a gateway to a nightmarish experience beyond our wildest imagination. We resumed our road trip, the memory of Whitaker's Oddities etched into the fabric of our journey. The ordinary sights and sounds of the highway took on a new significance, each mile carrying with it the weight of the extraordinary. And as we drove into the night, the allure of the unknown lingered, a haunting reminder that some mysteries were best left untouched. The night hung heavy around me as I navigated the deserted highway, the rhythmic hum of the engine and the intermittent glow of the dashboard lights creating a cocoon of solitude. My journey through the isolated stretch of road was marked only by the occasional flicker of distant streetlights, casting long shadows that seemed to dance alongside my car. I was on my way back from a friend's wedding, the joyous celebration now a distant memory fading in the rearview mirror. The excitement of the day had given way to the monotony of the night drive, and the solitude of the highway stretched before me like an endless ribbon of asphalt. As I pressed on, the low hum of the engine and the rhythmic whir of tires against the pavement became my companions. The radio played a soft melody, a futile attempt to alleviate the eerie silence that enveloped the car. The occasional passing of another vehicle provided momentary relief, headlights piercing through the darkness before vanishing into the night. And then, it happened. A pair of headlights appeared in my rearview mirror, seemingly materializing out of the inky blackness. I glanced at the clock. It was well past midnight, and the highway had become a desolate realm, devoid of the usual traffic. Yet, there it was, a car, its headlights fixed on me like an unrelenting gaze. Unease settled in the pit of my stomach. I told myself it was just another traveler, someone going in the same direction. But as the miles passed, and the car behind me showed no sign of overtaking or veering off, my rationalizations began to wane. I stole a glance at the rearview mirror, and a chill ran down my spine. The car, an indistinct silhouette in the darkness, maintained a consistent distance. No matter how fast I accelerated or how slow I went, it stayed there, a haunting presence that seemed to mirror my every move. Dread crept over me, and my hands tightened around the steering wheel. What was their intention? Why were they tailing me on this desolate stretch of highway? The rational part of my mind tried to dismiss it as coincidence, but an unsettling intuition whispered that this was no ordinary encounter. I decided to test my suspicion. I made an abrupt lane change, veering to the right as if I were about to take an exit. The car behind me mirrored the move precisely, confirming my fears. A knot formed in my stomach as the realization sank in. I was being followed. A flicker of panic gripped me, and my mind raced through scenarios and possibilities. Was it a highway patrol car? No, the unmarked vehicle and the persistent pursuit ruled out that possibility. Perhaps it was someone lost? But who follows another car for miles without attempting communication? As the paranoia settled in, I focused on my driving, trying to maintain composure. The road stretched ahead, a lonely path with no signs of life. I checked my fuel gauge, hoping for a nearby gas station or a semblance of civilization where I could seek refuge. The headlights in the rearview mirror persisted, casting an ominous glow that seemed to seep into the car's interior. I couldn't shake the feeling that the driver behind those cold lights had intentions unknown to me, hidden in the shadows. Desperation set in, and I decided to take the next exit, hoping to find a gas station or a well-lit area where I could confront the situation. The exit sign loomed ahead, and my heart raced as I maneuvered the car onto the off-ramp, the pursuing vehicle still in tow. The exit led to a dimly lit service road, flanked by dense trees that cast elongated shadows in the moonlight. My anxiety intensified as the road twisted and turned, revealing nothing but an endless corridor of darkness. I decided to pull over at the first sign of civilization, hoping to escape the unnerving pursuit. As I slowed to a stop on the shoulder, the car behind mimicked my actions, parking a few yards away. The engine idled, and the headlights illuminated the road between us. I waited, heart pounding, hands trembling. The minutes stretched like an eternity until the car's engine cut off, plunging us into an oppressive silence. I hesitated, then mustered the courage to step out of my car, the cold night air biting into my skin. The driver of the pursuing car remained hidden behind the wheel, their features obscured. I took a few cautious steps toward them, the gravity of the situation sinking in. I cleared my throat, attempting a shaky greeting. "What's going on?" I called out, my voice echoing in the stillness of the night. No response. "Are you lost?" I pressed, the desperation evident in my words. Still, silence. As I approached, I could feel the weight of their gaze, an invisible force that bore into me. I mustered the courage to peer inside the car, and what I saw sent shivers down my spine, an empty driver's seat. The car, with no visible driver, sat in eerie stillness. I took a step back, my mind struggling to comprehend the surreal scene before me. The headlights flickered, casting long shadows that danced in the darkness. In that moment, fear and confusion gripped me. The unknown entity that had trailed me through the desolate highway revealed itself as an enigma beyond explanation. I stumbled back to my car, heart pounding, hands fumbling for the door handle. As I sped away from that mysterious scene, questions swirled in my mind, unanswered and haunting. What had just transpired on that dimly lit service road? Who, or what, had pursued me through the night? The highway stretched ahead, the isolation intensifying as I left behind the enigmatic car with its absent driver. The incident lingered in my thoughts, an indelible mark on my journey through the desolate stretches of the American highway. To this day, the memory of that haunting pursuit lingers, a tale I share with trepidation, a story that reminds me that in the vast expanse of the unknown, the line between reality and the inexplicable can blur, casting shadows that defy understanding. The sun dipped low on the horizon, casting long shadows over the vast landscape as my family and I embarked on our cross-country road trip. The open road stretched before us, a promise of adventure and discovery. We had meticulously planned our route, eager to explore the diverse landscapes that unfolded with each passing mile. As we ventured into the heartland of America, the scenery transformed into an expanse of desolate beauty. The highway cut through vast plains, the isolation broken only by the occasional silhouette of a distant farmhouse or the rhythmic whir of wind turbines. Our excitement was palpable as we shared stories, laughter, and the joy of exploration. Yet, as the sun sank below the horizon, a subtle unease settled among us. The once familiar highway now seemed quieter, the desolation more pronounced. It began with a hitchhiker, a figure standing by the roadside with a thumb extended in silent plea. The first time we passed, we dismissed it as a trick of the fading light. But as we journeyed farther, the hitchhiker reappeared at intervals, each time more indistinct and ethereal than before. A phantom on the periphery of our journey, a harbinger of the strange events that would unfold. Curiosity mingled with trepidation as we pressed on, the highway unfolding like an endless ribbon through the night. Road signs appeared, cryptic messages that seemed to defy logic. Distances that didn't add up, towns that we couldn't locate on any map. The GPS became unreliable, leading us in circles as if the very landscape conspired to confound our journey. The air inside the car grew heavy, tension mounting with each passing mile. My children, usually brimming with excitement, now cast uneasy glances at the ever-changing landscape outside. Even my partner, the perennial optimist, began to express concern. As midnight approached, our surroundings took on an otherworldly quality. The darkness beyond the reach of the headlights seemed to harbor secrets, and the vast expanse of the plains echoed with an unsettling silence. Our laughter gave way to hushed whispers, an unspoken acknowledgement that something was amiss. And then, it happened. A pair of headlights appeared in the rearview mirror, piercing through the darkness with an intensity that sent a chill down my spine. The vehicle, a silhouette against the night, trailed us with an unwavering determination. I exchanged glances with my partner, the unspoken question hanging in the air, were we being followed? Unease settled in as we navigated the desolate highway, the pursuing vehicle maintaining a consistent distance. The phantom hitchhiker, the cryptic road signs, they all coalesced into a foreboding narrative, and the headlights behind us seemed to symbolize an ominous force closing in. In a desperate attempt to shake off our pursuer, we deviated from the planned route, taking side roads that wound through the darkness like veins of an unknown entity. The headlights, however, persisted, an unrelenting presence that mirrored our every move. As anxiety gripped us, we stumbled upon a dilapidated gas station in the heart of nowhere. The flickering fluorescent lights cast eerie shadows as we pulled in, the gravel crunching beneath our tires. The solitary gas pump loomed like a sentinel, its rusted frame echoing the desolation of the landscape. We hesitated, the air thick with uncertainty. The gas station, an island of civilization in the sea of emptiness, held an aura of foreboding. The hitchhiker, the mysterious signs, the relentless pursuit, they all converged in this desolate outpost. With trepidation, I stepped out of the car, the cold wind biting into my skin. The gas station attendant, a solitary figure with hollow eyes, regarded us with a gaze that seemed to pierce through the layers of our unease. "Where are we?" I asked, my voice betraying a hint of anxiety. The attendant's response was a cryptic smile. "You're exactly where you need to be." The unease in the air intensified. My partner approached the gas pump, attempting to refuel the car, but the numbers on the pump whirred in erratic patterns, refusing to stabilize. The hitchhiker, now a faint silhouette on the horizon, lingered at the edge of the gas station's feeble glow. It was then that I noticed the headlights behind us had dimmed, the pursuing vehicle now a shadowy presence at the edge of the gas station's periphery. My family and I huddled together, uncertainty etched on our faces. The gas station attendant spoke again, his voice a whisper that carried through the wind. "You're in the crossroads, where paths intertwine. A choice awaits, and your journey hinges on the decision you make." The cryptic words hung in the air, and realization dawned upon us. We were not mere travelers passing through, we were participants in a narrative woven by forces beyond our understanding. As the gas pump finally relented, the headlights behind us flickered back to life. The pursuing vehicle, now revealed in the feeble glow of the gas station, bore an uncanny resemblance to our own car. A doppelganger, a reflection of our journey, and the phantom hitchhiker now stood at the threshold, a silent observer to the unfolding enigma. The choice presented itself: continue the journey into the unknown, or turn back and confront the enigmatic forces that held us captive. With a shared glance, my family and I made a collective decision, a choice that defied the logic of the desolate plains and the cryptic signs that had guided us thus far. We turned back, retracing our path through the darkened highways and the side roads that seemed to twist like serpents through the night. The pursuing headlights faded into the distance, and the gas station, with its attendant and phantom hitchhiker, receded into the rearview mirror. As dawn broke on the horizon, we found ourselves back on the familiar highway, the desolation giving way to the promise of a new day. The phantom hitchhiker, the cryptic signs, and the pursuing doppelganger were but fragments of a surreal night, a tale we would carry with us into the vast expanse of the American road. Our cross-country journey resumed, the landscape unfolding with a sense of normalcy. The hitchhiker, the gas station, and the pursuing doppelganger became memories, etched into the fabric of our shared adventure. Yet, as we traveled onward, a lingering question remained: had we escaped the clutches of the malevolent force, or were we merely travelers on an endless highway, forever entwined in the enigma of the crossroads?